Whispers beneath the observatory. The crisp mountain air stung Dr. Maya Chen's face as she adjusted the massive telescope. 3 months at the Pinecrest Mountain Observatory had yielded nothing extraordinary, until tonight. The anomalous signal pulsed on her screen again, a rhythmic pattern too perfect to be natural, too persistent to be equipment malfunction. "That can't be right," she whispered, pushing her dark hair behind her ears. Maya recalibrated the system and ran the scan again. The signal remained, emanating from a previously unremarkable section of the Cygnus constellation. A knock at the door startled her. Elijah Winters stood there, his broad shoulders filling the frame, a thermos in his hand. As the observatory's guide and local wilderness expert, he often brought her coffee during late nights. "Thought you might need this," he said, his voice gentle against the quiet hum of computers. "Elijah, look at this." Maya beckoned him over, pointing to the screen. "I've never seen anything like it." He leaned in, his warmth radiating against her side. "Is that artificial?" "It shouldn't be possible," she replied, excitement building in her voice. "It's coming from over 50 light years away." Elijah set down the thermos, his expression darkening. "The military was here yesterday. Didn't mention why." Maya frowned. "Nobody told me. They spoke with Director Foster privately. 4 men in suits, no insignia." A chill ran through Maya that had nothing to do with the mountain night. She transferred the data to her secure tablet. "I'm sending this to my colleague at MIT for verification." The next morning, Maya woke to an email notification. Her MIT contact hadn't responded, but Director Foster had called an emergency staff meeting. She dressed quickly and headed to the conference room, clutching her tablet. Foster stood at the head of the table, flanked by 2 unfamiliar men in dark suits. "Dr. Chen, thank you for joining us. These gentlemen are from the National Science Foundation. They'll be auditing our research." The taller man smiled without warmth. "Dr. Chen, we understand you've detected an anomalous signal. We'd like to examine your findings." Maya hesitated. "I'm still verifying the data. Nevertheless, we need to see it immediately," he insisted. "National security protocols. Since when does the NSF handle security matters?" Maya asked. Foster's expression tightened. "Dr. Chen, please cooperate." Later that afternoon, Maya found Elijah on the observatory's observation deck. "Something's wrong," she whispered. "They've locked me out of my own data. The signal recordings are gone." Elijah glanced around before responding. "Foster's lying. Those men aren't from the NSF. One of them dropped a keycard. Department of Defense Special Projects Division." Maya's heart raced. "I made a backup." She revealed her tablet. "But my MIT contact isn't answering calls or emails. It's like he vanished." That night, as a storm gathered over the mountains, Maya and Elijah huddled in her small apartment adjacent to the observatory. They reviewed the signal data, identifying patterns that couldn't be explained by known cosmic phenomena. "My father was military," Elijah said, his voice low. "He once mentioned a protocol for first contact evidence. Starfall contingency, immediate containment, denial, and controlled narrative." As lightning illuminated the room, Maya's tablet chimed with an encrypted message. It was from her MIT colleague, sent through a secure channel. "They're watching, not first contact. They've known for decades. Find Nadia Santos. Trust no one." Attached was a grainy photo of a strange symbol, the same pattern embedded in Maya's signal data. "Who's Nadia Santos?" Elijah asked. Before Maya could respond, headlights swept across the window. Black SUVs were pulling into the observatory compound. "We need to leave," Elijah said, grabbing her hand. His touch sent an unexpected warmth through her despite their predicament. "Now." As they slipped out the back door into the storm-lashed forest, Maya knew her life's trajectory had irrevocably changed. Whatever truth lay encoded in those signals from the stars, someone was determined to keep it buried. But with Elijah by her side, she was equally determined to uncover it no matter the cost. The silenced witness rain pounded the windshield of Elijah's weathered Jeep as they descended the mountain roads. Maya clutched her tablet to her chest, the only evidence of what they'd discovered now hidden beneath a layer of encryption she'd hastily applied before their escape. "We need to find this Nadia Santos," Maya said, watching the headlights of the observatory vehicles fade behind them. "My colleague wouldn't have mentioned her unless she was important." Elijah navigated a sharp turn, his strong hands steady on the wheel. "I know someone who might help." An old friend who works in intelligence circles. 3 days later, they found themselves in a dingy motel on the outskirts of Albuquerque. Elijah's contact had provided an address, a small house in the suburbs registered to a N. Santos. What if it's a trap? Maya asked, pacing the cramped room. Then we're already caught, Elijah replied, his eyes following her movement. In the days they'd spent together, a tentative trust had formed between them, punctuated by moments of unexpected connection. At dusk, they approached the house, a modest single story with desert landscaping. Before they could knock, the door opened, revealing a woman with sharp eyes and close-cropped hair. She held a handgun casually at her side. "Dr. Chen and Mr. Winters, I presume," she said. "I've been expecting you since the Pinecrest signal was detected. I'm Nadia Santos, former military intelligence. Come in before you're spotted." Inside, Nadia revealed a room filled with surveillance equipment and maps. "I worked with your MIT contact, Dr. Chen. Dr. Harrison was my colleague in a classified program called Celestial Shield. He disappeared 2 days after contacting you. Is he dead?" Maya asked bluntly. "Probably," Nadia replied, her expression unreadable, just like everyone else who's gotten too close to the truth. Elijah leaned against the wall. "What truth?" Nadia activated a digital display showing familiar signal patterns, identical to what Maya had discovered. "These have been detected 7 times in the past 60 years. Each time they were buried. I've been collecting evidence since I was forced out of the program 3 years ago." "Why were you forced out?" Maya asked. "Because I asked questions about this." Nadia revealed a photograph of an excavation site in the desert. Operation Deep Earth, officially a geological survey, actually an archaeological dig uncovering something that shouldn't exist, an object of non-human origin buried for thousands of years. Maya studied the image. "And this connects to my signal how?" "The artifact is responding to the signals," Nadia explained. "It's a receiver of some kind, buried deliberately. Your recent signal was the strongest in decades. Something's coming and they don't want us to know." That night, as Elijah took first watch, Maya found Nadia outside staring at the stars. "Why help us?" Maya asked. "You're risking everything." Nadia's eyes remained on the sky. "My partner was the first to translate part of the artifact's markings. She died in a car accident the next day. This stopped being professional a long time ago." Maya felt a surge of compassion and placed her hand on Nadia's shoulder. The touch lingered, unexpected warmth flowing between them. The next morning, they were awakened by Elijah's urgent voice. "We've got company." Black SUVs approached from both ends of the street. Nadia led them through a hidden passage behind her house, emerging into a neighbor's garage where another vehicle waited. "My go-bag is in the trunk," Nadia said as they sped away, "including these." She handed Maya a folder of classified documents, stamped with government seals and redactions. Among them, coordinates for the excavation site and security protocols. "The dig site is in the Sonoran Desert," Nadia explained. "Heavily guarded, but I know a way in. The real question is, are you ready to see something that will change your understanding of human history?" Maya met her gaze. "I've been ready my whole life." As they drove toward the desert, Maya studied the documents, finding references to Project Genesis and the Harbinger Protocol. One photo showed a partially excavated object with intricate, non-human design patterns. "According to these notes," she said, "they've only uncovered a fraction of it. Whatever this thing is, it's massive." "And ancient," Nadia added. "Carbon dating puts the surrounding materials at over 12,000 years old." Elijah kept his eyes on the road. "So aliens visited Earth in our ancient past and buried this thing as what? A time capsule?" "Or a warning," Nadia replied grimly. "The translation suggests it activates during celestial alignments. The next complete alignment is in less than 2 weeks." That evening, they made camp in an abandoned mining outpost. As Elijah prepared a small meal, Maya found herself drawn to Nadia, who was cleaning her weapons with practiced precision. "You've been preparing for this a long time," Maya observed. Nadia looked up, vulnerability momentarily visible in her eyes. "Someone has to stand for the truth." She hesitated before adding, "I never expected to find allies, especially not someone like you." The words hung in the air between them, laden with unspoken meaning. When their fingers brushed as Nadia handed Maya a cup of coffee, neither pulled away immediately. Under the vast desert sky, surrounded by danger and drawn together by an ancient mystery, They were becoming something more than fugitives. They were becoming a team bound by purpose, and perhaps something deeper. Tomorrow we reach the dig site, Nadia said. Whatever happens, there's no turning back after that. Maya glanced at Elijah, then back to Nadia. I don't want to turn back. Not anymore. Descent into shadows. The excavation site sprawled across a desolate section of the Sonoran Desert, surrounded by electrified fencing and surveillance towers. From their vantage point on a distant ridge, Maya, Elijah, and Nadia observed the operation through binoculars. More security than the documents indicated, Nadia muttered. They've ramped up since these were leaked. Maya studied the central dig area, a massive tent structure covering what appeared to be a deep pit. How do we get in? Underground, Nadia replied. The site was built over an abandoned mining network. I have the layouts memorized. As dusk fell, they made their approach, navigating through a narrow wash that concealed their movement. Nadia led them to a rusted grate partially hidden by desert scrub. This connects to the old ventilation system, she explained, working to remove the grate. It's how supplies were brought in during the mine's operation. The tunnel beyond was claustrophobic and thick with dust. They crawled for what seemed like hours, guided by Nadia's quiet instructions. Eventually, the passage opened into a larger chamber lined with abandoned mining equipment. We're beneath the excavation now, Nadia whispered. A noise ahead made them freeze. Flashlight beams cut through the darkness. They pressed themselves against the wall as a voice echoed through the chamber. The readings are stronger tonight. We need to accelerate the extraction. A second voice responded, tinged with a Russian accent. The structure is delicate. Rush this and we risk damaging the core components. As the voices faded, Elijah gestured toward a maintenance ladder leading upward. They ascended cautiously, emerging into a dimly lit storage area filled with scientific equipment. This way, Nadia mouthed, leading them toward the sound of activity. They entered a massive underground chamber and stopped in collective awe. Before them lay a partially excavated structure unlike anything human-made. A curved, metallic object the size of a small building, covered in intricate symbols that occasionally pulsed with faint blue light. My God, Maya breathed. It's responding to something. A man stood with his back to them, examining holographic data displays. He turned suddenly, revealing a lean face with intelligent eyes. He showed no surprise at their presence. I've been expecting someone to come, he said calmly, though I didn't anticipate Dr. Chen herself. Your signal discovery accelerated everything. Nadia raised her weapon. Dr. Leo Kazan, I presume. He nodded. The very same. You must be Santos, the whistleblower. They speak of you with such venom in the briefings. Step away from the controls, Nadia demanded. I'm not your enemy, Leo replied, raising his hands. I was brought here to translate the symbols, but what they're planning, it's madness. What are they planning? Maya asked, approaching the artifact. This object isn't just a receiver, Leo explained. It's part of an ancient warning system. The symbols describe a cyclical celestial event, something that happens every several thousand years. They're trying to suppress its activation. Who is they? Elijah asked. A coalition of interests that believe public panic would be more dangerous than the event itself, Leo replied. But they're wrong. This wasn't buried to be hidden, it was preserved to be found when needed. Maya moved closer to the artifact, drawn by scientific curiosity. When her hand neared its surface, the symbols brightened in response. It recognizes you somehow, Leo said, amazement in his voice. A sudden alarm blared through the facility. Leo's expression turned urgent. They're initiating containment protocols. We have minutes at most. Nadia moved decisively. Can we extract part of it? Something that maintains functionality? The core module. Leo pointed to a section where the blue light pulsed strongest. It contains the transmission capabilities. Working quickly, they used Leo's access to detach the core, a cylindrical object about the size of a backpack. As they secured it, armed security forces began pouring into adjacent chambers. This way, Leo directed them toward a research elevator. It leads to the surface transport bay. In the chaos of blaring alarms and shouting voices, Maya found herself pressed against Nadia in the narrow elevator. Their eyes met, fear and determination mingling with something deeper. We'll make it, Nadia said softly, her hand finding Maya's. The elevator doors opened to a loading dock where vehicles were being hastily loaded for evacuation. They commandeered a research truck, Elijah taking the wheel while Leo secured the artifact core in the back. As they crashed through a security checkpoint and sped into the desert night, Nadia turned to Leo. "Why help us? You're destroying your career." Leo's gaze was solemn. "Some truths are worth sacrificing everything for. The world deserves to know what's coming." Elijah navigated the difficult terrain with surprising skill, putting distance between them and their pursuers. When they finally stopped in a hidden canyon to regroup, Maya examined the artifact core. Its symbols continued to pulse, responding to an unseen signal. Under the stars, with the ancient technology humming beside them, Maya realized they now held a piece of humanity's forgotten history, and possibly its future. As Nadia stood watch nearby, their glances connected across the darkness, a silent acknowledgement of the bond forming between them. They were no longer just fugitives. They were guardians of a truth buried for millennia, a truth someone was still determined to keep hidden. The forgotten protocol dawn broke over the canyon, illuminating the artifact core with amber light. Maya hadn't slept, too entranced by the pulsing symbols that seemed to strengthen with each passing hour. Leo sat beside her, making notes and comparisons with his previous translations. "The language operates on multiple levels," he explained, his academic passion evident despite their dire circumstances. "It's not just symbolic, it's mathematical and astronomical." Elijah returned from scouting, dust coating his clothes. "We're clear for now, but they've set up roadblocks on all major routes. Military involvement, not just private security." Nadia checked her weapons. "We need a secure location to study this thing properly. Somewhere off-grid, but with enough power to run diagnostics." "I might know a place," Elijah said after a moment's consideration. "My uncle's research station in the Chiricahua Mountains. It's solar-powered, isolated, and has basic scientific equipment. He's in Europe for a conference, won't be back for weeks." They traveled by night, avoiding main roads, the artifact core carefully secured in a modified cooler to mask its energy signature. During daylight hours, they hid, using the time to rest and plan. On the second day of their journey, as they sheltered in an abandoned ranch house, Maya found Leo analyzing the symbol patterns that occasionally flashed across the core's surface. "Have you made progress?" she asked, sitting beside him. Leo nodded, excitement in his eyes. "It's a countdown synchronized to astronomical movements. According to my calculations, we have 6 days until whatever it's warning about begins." "Begins, not happens?" "It describes a progressive event," Leo clarified, "starting with atmospheric disturbances, followed by gravitational anomalies, culminating in what translates roughly as the sky's descent." Maya felt a chill despite the desert heat. "An impact event? Asteroid collision?" "Possibly, though the description suggests something more complex." Leo's fingers traced the symbols. "The ancients who buried this had technology beyond our current understanding. They survived this cycle before. This device was meant to help us do the same." That evening, while Nadia took watch, Elijah approached Leo with coffee. Their hands touched during the exchange, lingering a moment longer than necessary. A connection had been forming between them. Quiet conversations and shared glances that spoke of mutual admiration. "Your dedication to this is remarkable," Elijah said softly. "You've given up everything." Leo's smile was tinged with sadness. "Science is about truth, not career advancement. What about you? You could have walked away at the observatory." "Some things are worth the risk," Elijah replied, his gaze steady on Leo's face. They reached the research station the following night. A modern structure nestled into the mountainside, solar panels glinting in the moonlight. Inside, they found the laboratory space Elijah had promised, powered and equipped for basic research. Maya and Leo immediately set to work connecting the artifact core to the station's systems, while Nadia established security protocols and Elijah managed communications. Days blurred together in a rush of discovery and growing dread. On the fourth night, Maya found Nadia alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars. Without words, Maya moved beside her, their shoulders touching. "I keep thinking about everyone out there," Nadia said quietly. "Billions of people with no idea what's coming." Maya took Nadia's hand, intertwining their fingers. "We'll find a way to warn them." Their eyes met, months of unspoken tension crystallizing in a moment of vulnerability. Nadia leaned forward, her lips meeting Maya's in a kiss that felt both inevitable and surprising. When they separated, neither spoke, but something fundamental had shifted between them. Inside, Leo and Elijah had made a breakthrough. The artifact core had begun projecting three-dimensional star maps showing a progressive celestial alignment. "It's beautiful," Elijah murmured, standing close enough to Leo that their arms pressed together. Leo turned to him, exhaustion and exhilaration mingling in his expression. "It is." The moment suspended between them, then Leo closed the distance. His kiss a question Elijah answered by pulling him closer. Their brief respite ended abruptly the next morning when Nadia's perimeter alarms triggered. Surveillance footage showed a convoy approaching, military vehicles accompanied by unmarked black SUVs. "They've found us," Nadia announced grimly. "We have maybe 30 minutes. Leo looked up from the artifact core, which now pulsed more rapidly than before. "We can't move it now. It's in the middle of a transmission sequence. Interrupting could damage it permanently." "What transmission?" Maya demanded. "It's broadcasting a warning signal," Leo explained, activating other buried components around the world. "It's part of the protective network." Elijah checked the defensive options. "We can't fight off a military force." "We don't need to win," Nadia countered. "We just need to buy time for the transmission to complete. Then we take the core and run." As they prepared for the inevitable confrontation, the sky above them began to change. Faint aurora-like patterns shimmered across the morning blue, the first visible sign of what the artifact had been warning about. "It's starting," Leo whispered. Looking upward, the countdown had reached 0. Now they faced not only those who wanted to suppress the truth, but also whatever celestial reckoning had been foretold millennia ago. Their intertwined fates, and perhaps humanity's, would be decided in the hours to come. The truth above. The aurora-like patterns intensified overhead as the military convoy approached the research station. Inside, the artifact core's pulses had reached a fever pitch, bathing the laboratory in pulsating blue light. "Transmission at 87%, Leo announced, fingers flying across the improvised interface they'd created. "We need 10 more minutes for completion." Nadia distributed their limited weapons. "Maya, stay with Leo. Keep the transmission running. Elijah and I will delay them." Before separating, Maya pulled Nadia close, their foreheads touching. "Be careful." "Always am," Nadia replied with a half-smile, then turned to Elijah. "Ready?" Outside, they established defensive positions, using the station's terrain advantages. The first vehicles were now visible on the winding mountain road. In the lab, Maya helped Leo stabilize the power fluctuations affecting the artifact. "If this is a warning system," she asked, "what happens after the warning? Does it offer protection?" Leo nodded grimly. "According to the translations, once fully activated, it creates some kind of electromagnetic shield. The ancients used it to survive the last cycle." The first shots echoed outside as Nadia and Elijah engaged the approaching forces. Maya flinched but kept working, her scientific training focusing her mind despite the danger. 93%, Leo reported as the building shook from an explosion. "Almost there." In the courtyard, Nadia and Elijah had been forced back to the station's entrance. A figure emerged from the lead vehicle, the tall man from the observatory who had claimed to be from the NSF. "This is Colonel Hartman," he announced through a loudspeaker. "You are in possession of classified government property. Surrender now and you will not be harmed." "They're lying," Nadia muttered to Elijah as they ducked behind a concrete barrier. "They can't let us live knowing what we know." Elijah's face was streaked with dirt and sweat. "Then we don't surrender." Inside, the artifact core suddenly emitted a high-pitched tone. 100%, Leo exclaimed. "Transmission complete." The effect was immediate and stunning. Around the world, buried components of the ancient system activated simultaneously. In the sky above them, the aurora patterns coalesced into a coherent energy field visible even in daylight. Colonel Hartman's voice became urgent. "Shut it down now. You don't understand the consequences." Maya joined Nadia and Elijah at the entrance. "It's too late," she called out. "The system is fully activated." "Then you've doomed us all," Hartman replied, genuine fear in his voice. "We've been containing these activations for decades because full deployment has unpredictable effects on modern technology." As if confirming his words, the military vehicles suddenly lost power, electronics failing as the energy field intensified. Above them, the sky darkened unnaturally, the aurora expanding to cover the visible horizon. "What's happening?" Elijah asked, looking upward in wonder and apprehension. Leo emerged from the station, artifact core cradled in his arms. It now glowed with steady light rather than pulses. It's exactly what the ancients predicted. Look there. He pointed to a section of sky where the darkness seemed to part, revealing a view that shouldn't have been possible in daylight. A massive celestial object moving across the solar system, its trajectory bringing it perilously close to Earth. A rogue planet, Maya whispered in awe. That's what the warning was about. Its gravitational field would cause catastrophic effects on Earth. And the shield? Nadia asked. It's designed to minimize the gravitational impact, Leo explained, creating a kind of buffer zone around Earth. That's why they buried these devices globally, to generate a planetary shield when activated together. The soldiers, their equipment disabled, stood down in confused disarray. Colonel Hartman approached cautiously, his authority diminished by circumstances beyond his control. We were trying to activate it in a controlled way, he admitted. Small activations monitored deployments. The risks of full activation were deemed too great. You were wrong, Maya replied firmly. It was designed to work as a complete system. Your partial activations were insufficient. As they spoke, the shield above continued to strengthen, the approaching celestial body now clearly visible to the naked eye, an awe-inspiring sight that would have caused global panic without context. People deserve to know the truth, Nadia insisted, about our past and what's happening now. Hartman looked defeated. The protocols were established generations ago. Perhaps they were mistaken. In the days that followed, as the rogue planet made its closest approach, the ancient shield performed exactly as designed. Gravitational effects were minimized to manageable levels, and what might have been an extinction-level event became merely a historic celestial passing. Visible to everyone on Earth, the government had no choice but to acknowledge the truth. The existence of advanced ancient technology and the reality of cyclical cosmic threats became public knowledge. Maya, Nadia, Leo, and Elijah found themselves reluctant celebrities, the whistleblowers who had forced disclosure. 1 month after the event, they gathered at a coastal observatory, watching as the rogue planet continued its journey away from the solar system, the shield gradually dissipating as the danger passed. What now? Elijah asked, his hand intertwined with Leo's. The two had become inseparable, their connection deepened by shared experience. We study, Maya replied, leaning against Nadia's shoulder. We learn everything we can about the ancients and their technology. There might be other systems, other warnings. Nadia's arm tightened around Maya's waist. And we stay vigilant. The truth has a way of being buried again if people aren't watching. Leo looked thoughtfully at the artifact core, now dormant but still in their possession by special government dispensation. The symbols mention other cycles, other phenomena. Our work is just beginning. As night fell and stars appeared above them, they stood together, bonded by extraordinary circumstances and the shared knowledge that humanity's history and its future was far more complex and wondrous than anyone had imagined. The truth that had been buried was now visible to all who looked up at the sky. And though challenges remained, the world had changed irrevocably. Awakened to both ancient wisdom and cosmic wonder, prepared at last to face whatever the universe might bring.